Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for whoever is joining us live and online, and thank you so much everybody who is coming in person. Today we have an amazing brand owner here. So she'll introduce herself in a second, but it's a brand that's been with us for quite a bit in flying solo, and we're all loving it. It's so Jenny, I will let you introduce yourself.
Thank you, Liz. I'm honored to be here. My name is Jenny. I'm the founder of Freja New York. We're a vegan luxury accessories line. We started in 2020 with women's work bags, and we've kind of expanded since there. And been flying solo for a year, almost a year now. Yeah, it's our New York City home.
Amazing. So thank you for the introduction. And what's really amazing about Jenny's journey with Freya is um, she been with us for over a year now, and she is one of our best selling brands here. What's unique about it, there are so many people that know about Freya in New York. So now you'll go to the subway, you'll see her bags. Like you ask the friends, like they actually, like someone in the office will be wearing her bag already. And it's been relatively a short journey for her. You only started in 2020 and it's 2024 now. So but so many people already know about the brand. So can you share with us the beginning of your journey? How did you even come about to make a bag? Were you always a designer? So everything that you would like audience to know.
Yeah, sure. It's definitely not a designer. Um, I So I was in my last year of college, and I thought, okay, I need to do something. So I was interviewing for a lot of jobs that I didn't really know what I would be doing. But at my last final interview that I ever did in my life, I bombed it, and I was convinced that I didn't do well because I didn't have the right bag for the interview. So after I got home, I scoured the internet, didn't find anything I really loved, and thought, hey, always wanted to do something on my own. Why don't I do a bag? Um, and knowing me as not a designer, I thought, not going to make the most aesthetically cool looking bag, but I could do something really utilitarian. And that's why we started with one work bag. Took us a year to design and finalize that work bag. Um, and that's the only product that we had for the first year. We made 300 pieces in two colors. That's how we started.
And you shared a little bit before we started this interview. So what was the pre-sample like journey for Freya?
Okay. Well, it was a lot of hand drawings, and then I found a sample maker in Brooklyn. We, well, actually, no, I found materials first. So our bags are made from vegan leather. So it took a couple months research, was deciding between a couple different materials and ended up on vegan ultra fiber leather. So we had the materials sent to me. I really loved them. Had it sent to a sample maker in Brooklyn. First sample cost $2,500 and took a month to make, and it was terrible. And then after that, I went to China because I'm Chinese. Was visiting my parents in China, so we started looking for factories there. I found a sourcing agent. She gave me a list of factories that fit the quality and criteria that I wanted. Spent that summer visiting factories, and then we had all the ones that I like make samples for us, and then just kind of went from there. I was back at school during this time, so like between classes, I was just like every month a new sample would arrive at my door, and I would send like pictures and feedback of what I wanted to change.
And you also had a blog even before starting. So can you tell us a little more about that?
Yeah, so Freya started as a blog before I ever launched the product because from the beginning I was like, okay, even after we launched, no one's ever heard of us. Why would they buy from us, right? I need to give them a reason to buy. And also, I'm not going to have the product for at least a year and a half. Like, let me at least have something to show for it during this time. Everyone told me manufacturing was going to take at least a month, a year, and I was like, no, I'll have it in 3 months. It took us a year and a half. Um, but I documented the whole journey. Like I would show, hey, going to the factory now, show pictures. This is what I'm looking at. This is what I'm working with. Going to move fabrics. Like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing here, but I'm looking for edge paint. Like I would show all of that. Everything that went wrong with the bag, everything that we changed about the sample, and also giving a reason why. And then that whole, like all of those little newsletter blog posts turned into our about page, and it still lives on our website today.
And I know that you also keep continuing sharing it through, like,
Mhm.
all your mishaps and whatever happening, you still share with your audience, right? So that was
Yeah.
part of the whole
Yeah,
thing.
we don't only share the good, we share the bad, we share everything. One of our best performing, so I send two newsletters every week. I think it's really good way of like connecting with our customers. And I think we don't really run sales, so the newsletters are on Tuesdays. It's like kind of an announcement, like what we're working on, and then on Fridays it's a personal newsletter from me. So that goes out every Friday in the inbox, and it also lives on our blog.
And you personally write everything, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
this is literally your voice when we read your emails, right?
Yeah, it's me. I think it gives some personality to voice, to the blog, to the brand. I was telling Liz like in the beginning, I'm not a designer, right? As I said, I've never done this before. I was reading through a lot of the brands I admired. I was like, oh, like I like how they use this word. I like how they phrase that. And so I would try to take elements of what they wrote. And then a year in, I just, what, like this is really hard. It's hard writing in not your own voice. So I pivoted. And then our post started doing really well. I think people really resonated with the brand a lot more after I started doing that.
So basically, your advice is just be authentic, and
Be
that's.
authentic, be transparent. One of our best performing posts is I told people like, hey, we're increasing our prices and this is why. People love that one. We recently posted a price transparency post. So like I gave a breakdown of like what everything costs and why we price things the way we do. Anything with price, I think people really resonate with because they're always questioning like, hey, like why is it priced the way we are? I don't think anyone's ever happy. Some people are like, oh, you should increase your prices. Or like, oh, why is it so expensive? It's vegan leather. I think for everything, customers just want a reason to understand. They want to know why.
And did you personally have any hesitation? I know that a lot of designers do that transparency
Mm-hmm.
thing. That is, when customer understand, okay, leather costs this, labor costs that, but
Mm-hmm.
obviously you need to make money as well.
Mm-hmm.
Was there any hesitation on where you like, just let's go for it and see what's going to happen?
Um, I was a little scared to publish, obviously. So I'm like, oh, we do a 3x markup, but that's necessary. And I think I don't know. I think the people you attract are the people that you want, and they would be supporting your brand anyway. And the people who aren't, they're not your customers, and that's okay. You don't want like, I think from the beginning, I was like, I don't want Freya to be for everyone. It's not supposed to be for everyone. I want people who love Freya to really, really love Freya, and then everyone else can like find the brand that they really, really love. But I don't know. It makes things a lot easier, I think, to not chase people who are like, oh, I don't want to like convince anyone to buy Freya.
Mm-hmm. Is there a story behind the name Freya?
I so I needed a website to get started. So I needed a name for the website, and I looked up Scandinavian baby names, and I picked Freya because I thought it sounded nice and it means love. So yeah, really in-depth story there.
Awesome. Well, it's just, yeah, you've been transparent about everything, so it's great that you share. So you also mentioned that you have a very interesting way that you hire people. So if you can share with us, like, how you do all of that.
I think like my strategy from the beginning, I thought, okay, I'm really really happy with the product. I think that was number one. Product needs to be perfect in my eyes before I start selling it. And then number two is like it doesn't matter how good the product is if no one knows about it. So my first hire, well, I didn't hire anyone for the first year and a half, so I did everything myself for the year and a half. Um, Worked on ads, everything's like, okay, now I know how I need to number one, grow the brand, and number two, get my time back because I was shipping everything too. So my first hire was an ad agency because I was like, I need a scalable and consistent way to get new customers. So I went through, I think, four different ad agencies, and each one I was like, okay, now I know what I'm looking for, what I'm not looking for. And today we're still working with their same team. It's actually two guys, Pat and Joe, and they're great. And
And
then after that, hired. After that, we moved into a fulfillment warehouse. So our bags are made in China. They're shipped to our 3PL in Milwaukee, and then they ship to our customers. And then after that, that really allowed us to do a lot more. Like we had our first Black Friday sale because there was no way I could have handled the volume on my own. So I think that really gave me my time back and then opened us up to like doing other things because I wasn't just, you know, in the warehouse all day. And our warehouse was a Cube Smart next to my apartment.
Amazing. And you also shared that you started in 2020.
Mhm.
So how was it, and like what was the very beginning of your journey?
Yeah, we launched in 2020, as you may know, in March 2020. We launched in February 2020. Uh, World kind of shut down. No one needed a work bag. So I thought, you know what? If I can sell bags during this time, I can sell them. I can definitely sell them next year. It's like this. It doesn't get worse than this. That's just what I thought.
And
And
how?
everyone asked, like, oh, like, how did you survive? I'm like, I don't know. This is all I've ever known.
Yeah, and from what you told me, you were shipping the first like many months by yourself and
Mhm.
like doing everything basically, right?
Yeah.
So, and how did you pivot during the time where you just like, okay, I just need to go for it because I have those 300 bags and no way back?
Oh yeah. I have 300 bags. I need to move them. I need to find a way to move them. It's been so long since then. I don't even remember what I was trying, but I remember I was spending. It's funny. People were like, "Oh, do you spend most of your time designing bags?" I'm like, "No, I spend like maybe a couple weeks a year, really, really designing bags. The rest of the time, especially the first year, figuring out how to sell the bags, 10 hours a day on the Facebook ads, trying different things, filming different things, content. I never did the organics. I was like, I want to set up the ads engine, but I know a lot of people also have a lot of success with organic.
Awesome. Do you remember your very first client that came to your website to purchase?
Oh yeah, it was on pre-order. Bag wasn't ready yet. I thought it was mistakes. Like, why did I get a Shopify notification for Freja New York? I've never seen this before. And I emailed her. I was like, "Hello, you're customer number one. Thanks. How did you find?" I don't know. And I was like, "Oh, your bag's not going to come for another month. I hope you're okay with that." And yeah, I wrote letters to all of our first customers in the first year. I could put a note and everything, and then at the end of the year, I sent everyone a holiday card. Like, thanks for keeping us alive.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's very nice. So, do you see that some of your clients are returning, or is it mostly new customers? So, what's the breakdown normally for you?
Yeah, right now, priority is definitely still new customers. Like, I want to get as many new customers as possible while we still can, because I think even with a good ad setup, like it's never guaranteed. So I'm like, that's where I'm putting most of my effort. Returning customers right now is about 15%. For that, that's why I'm also launching new products this year. We're launching just like a lot more than we usually do, just because I want to capture some of our returning customers and give them what they want and kind of expand the collection line.
And you also share something very interesting about your design process. So, you do some for your clients and some
Mm-hmm.
for yourself. So, how did you come up with that formula?
Yeah, so like I said, I'm not a designer. And then, but I put out one bag, and then after that, our customers would say like, "Hey, love this style, but it doesn't fit my 15-inch laptop. Can you make one that does?" Or love this style, but need it in this color and need it in a zipper. So for the first four bags, we only launched like between 1 to 3 products every year. For the first four products, it was just based on whatever our customers wanted. I didn't really question. I was like, okay, tell me what you want. I'll put it into a bag format. I will deliver it. I will send you an email with options that I'm considering for the design. Let me know what you like the best. Let me know what colors you want. Let me know if this works for you. So it's a lot of crowdsourcing in the beginning. Um, our fifth bag I designed for myself. It's still my favorite. It doesn't sell super well, but it's my favorite. And yeah, right now I think I would say every two designs are for what our customers want, and then every third design I'll make something for me.
Amazing. So, advertising. So that's a big part of your strategy. So, can you share with the audience what exactly do you do? Like, do you do influencers, paid ads? I know that. Anything else that how you drive traffic to basically to you?
Yeah, in the beginning, it was Facebook meta ads for the first 2 years, just because I think, like for Google, you need people to be searching for you. No one knew who you were. I don't think people will be searching for something they don't know. And I think Facebook is a really good discovery and social platform. So yeah, we did videos on Facebook. We found a system of making the ads that really worked for us. Like I really focus on the functionality part of the bags. I think people need a reason to buy. Like I think it's always easier if you give them like, hey, this is why you need this bag. This is why it was made for you. So that's kind of what we formatted our ads. Facebook is still our biggest driver. I think it probably drives 75% of all our purchases. Google, we started last year. Google is now really good because Google kind of builds on top of Facebook. Facebook gets people in the door. Google gets them to convert on the back end if they're looking for the brand. TikTok, I don't know, very inconsistent. I don't personally have TikTok, so I don't even know I don't know like what works on there. It's just like a little bonus. Recently started Pinterest. Um, Influencer, I hired someone to do this 2 years ago. She actually bought a bag, tagged us. I thought she was cute. That sounds weird, but like I liked her energy. I met up for coffee in New York. Her name is Mia, and we're best friends. And she still works for Freya today, and she runs our influencer. But I never saw it as part of our core strategy, just because it's not measurable. I need to track everything month to month, and influencer was just kind of like a bonus on top. And then we hired Molly to do press for us starting in January, and I actually hired press 2 years in, but it didn't work. It's like I don't think press really generates demand if there's no demand to work with. I think press works really well if you like. It's like it like adds fuel to the fire if there's already something going. So I think Molly has been really crushing it for us on the press this year, and yeah, I do see a little bit of lift from that as well. But like I said, really hard to measure.
And so, what are your thoughts on like offline, online? I know that a lot of people that are clients coming to Flying Solo. I mean, we personally get to witness a lot of them, like how they choose the bag, how they want to touch it. So, what's your like idea, like perfect combo?
Um, we were only online because that was the only thing that was feasible for us. But I think offline, especially as we grow and expand, and our customer base is not so it's not like just the people who are really diehard Freya fans who would buy after reading a newsletter. They're interested, but there's like a longer period of consideration, and maybe these are the people that we're reaching now. These are the people that might need to see it in person. They're not convinced that the vegan leather is what it is, so they need to see it in person. I totally get that too. It's hard to like show online. Um, and I thought, bags aren't like clothes. There's no sizing. I figure you can just buy it online. But no, people really do want to see it in person. I think retail is definitely coming back. And yeah, big part of our strategy, not for this year, but maybe next year.
Yeah, well, I mean, like your clients are very unique clients, and they always like to come in and like see what type of bag they already might like your brand, but they want to see and touch, and they always compliment on an amazing quality of the bag because they sometimes surprise how well the brand is made because online is really hard to see, and like they sometimes choose between two colors. They want to make sure that it's actual, like how they saw it online and things like that. So.
Yeah, I love like Flying Solo team will leave notes for every customer. I love reading them. It's like, sometimes the bag chooses you. You come in for one, but you leave with another.
Yeah, we noticed that too. Sometimes they're set on one. They're like, "Oh, can I try this one
Yeah,
instead?"
I would much rather them do that than like order everything online and then return everything like that. That sucks. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know that you wanted to share a few more things with us. So whatever you want to share before I want open to the audience's questions.
Um,
Any advice for the younger designers? Like if you were there, like if it will be 4 years ago, and you have to do this journey all over again, what advice would you give yourself then?
ooh, I would say I know because in the beginning there's so many things you have to wear so many hats. You have to do everything yourself. Um, I think focus on the things that really really matter. Like we didn't even have branding. It was like Freya in some whatever regular font. Um, and we didn't have branding for the first 2 years. I'm like, I don't have the money to do that right now. I don't have the money to build a website right now. So the only money I have is focusing on the product itself and then like figuring out a way to sell it. And like, if anything didn't add to that, like I just didn't do it. It was also during COVID, so I didn't have anything else to do. So I think that was helpful too. But I think focusing on what really really matters. I know people get stuck in like, oh, I don't have the perfect packaging. I don't have this. I don't have that. Like, you don't need that. We didn't have that either. It's okay. Like, you don't need that right now. It's like a nice icing on top.
Amazing. That's actually really amazing advice, and it comes from a complete different perspective. From like you are much more of a business person, and that's always been first for you, and that's how you're figuring out your business. So yeah, very good advice. Even if you don't have anything, just start somehow and then start selling, basically.
Also, like tell the story. I think storytelling has been such a big part of our brand, and it's something I want to focus on a lot more this year because it's gotten diluted a little bit. Um, but yeah, people really value that, especially in this day and age, I think. And there's no better time for us to be able to do that and share our story with social media and everything. I think we should definitely take advantage of that. And yeah, you'll attract the people that you want to. Like, you know, it's scary in the beginning. I agree.
Amazing. All right. I know that you guys have some questions. So whoever has a question, please raise your hand and Jenny will answer them. Yes.
I'm Max. First of all, I want to tell you, like, thank you for sharing your experience. I have several questions. I guess let's start from the one, like, have you tried to find some contractors, like factories or manufacturers here in the United States, not in China?
I tried that in the beginning. So I really wanted to manufacture in the US in the beginning. So I'm like, I don't know how to do this. I would like to be able to be there. But after talking with a couple people who also have brands and things, I think people eventually will move overseas, and most of them do. I used to consult with another handbag brand, like their margins awful because you know the price is very high to manufacture here, and also my factory they only make handbags. They've only been doing this for like the last 30 years. So they're very specialized in making handbags. And I can just send a picture and they'll have a sample for me in a week. And they'll source everything. Like here at my manufacturer, the sample maker, she wanted me to source everything. It's like, I don't know. I've never done this before. How am I supposed to source this? Whereas my factory over there, they have like all the connections that can help.
I have the second one.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about opening like a clothing brand. It's different from the bags for sure, but um, will it be difficult, for example, for me as a non-Chinese speaker to contact some contractors in China, for example, and to do the like good relationships and do the business like remotely? What do you think about it?
I know it feels like from factories and manufacturing, it feels like a dark hole because you know it is, yeah, and it's across the world. Um, but like the management level at my factory, they all speak English. Their clients, they only make bags that are shipped out of China. So like a lot of European brands. There's one in Texas. I know California and me. Um, I think a lot of factories are they do specialize in like external clients. I think the hard thing is actually finding them. I use a sourcing agent. So I gave her a list of criteria that I wanted in a factory, and then she found the factories for me. She set up meetings for me. So I think I would suggest doing that if you can, because otherwise, I wouldn't know how to find a factory any other way.
Sounds not that scary now.
Yeah, it's not scary. You'll just be up in weird hours of the night because the 12-hour time difference.
Amazing. Thank you for the questions.
On your clothes.
Yeah. So whoever has questions, please raise it. Yeah.
I wanted to go back to the product designing collection and ask you, how do you go about planning like a new collection? Do you think about how many styles you're going to launch, how many colors you're coming up with? I know you have like a range from the beige, brown, and black, keeping in neutral colors. How do you what's the process of developing new products from launch, and also making sure it blends with the previous collections, and like how you go about the mix of product that Freya offers?
I'm a lazy designer. I don't plan anything. We kind of just launch a product when we feel the market needs it. Like when our customers like, hey, we want this. I'm like, okay, let me start working on that. It might come to you in 6 months. It might come to you 2 years from now, but I'll start working on it. Like we're launching a weekender bag that I've been working on for 2 years. We had our first yeah, it takes a while sometimes. But like I don't stress about collections because I've made it very clear. Like we'll make bags that we think the world needs. I'm not just gonna put out a collection just to put out a collection. We make everything in neutral so they can just sell year round, and I don't need to worry about seasonality because I don't want to worry about seasonality. Um, yeah, it's mostly just dictated by what our customers want, what I am actually able to do, and I think each of our styles has a pretty distinct personality. I think like people who go for this one are not going to go for that style. So I think like you come to the website, it's not overwhelming. You can pick one that you like, you can get that one, and then we can all be happy. But I think this year, I do want to expand the collection. I'm moving into like travel categories, um, exploring men's styles because our weekender was a bit more masculine. Like my guy friends really loved it. My dad really loved it. So I think that's something that I'm exploring. And then yeah, colors. It takes a lot for me to do a new color. So we get a lot of color requests too. I'm just like, I'm not your brand for a like a pink bag. Like that's another brand. I'm not. It's not me. I think just being really clear on what your brand vision is. Like for us, that's functionality, quality, timeless.
Amazing.
Really sticking to that.
Thank you. Other questions? Guys, don't be shy. Yes.
First of all, congratulations because I discovered you because I was also flying solo and I was looking that every day there was someone asking for you. So I was like, well, I'm from Europe, so we in Italy we don't have your brand.
Mhm.
And I wanted to ask you, how much time did you need since the moment you started to do advertising until you got the results? Or you could see it like in a consistent way, like to track it.
Yeah, year and a half.
1 year and a half.
Year and a half. We never. So we never. I'm not sure if how familiar you are with Facebook ads, but basically, like you make the content and then you put money behind it. You choose your audiences, and they can like show the audiences your video or image or whatever. Um, we never lost money, as in like I would break even because I was spending so little. Like I need to break even. I don't have money to spend if I'm not. So I never like invested a lot to begin with, but it was a little bit more and more over time, gradual. And then I found a team agency that would like help me facilitate that. The first team did not do a good job. They're like, oh, you need to invest it all. I was like, I don't think so. Now I'm just losing money. But it took about a year and a half to really see consistent, as in two said consistent. For me, to make the margins work would be I put $1 in, I get $3 out. It's like a 3x for us.
So for $1, you get
Three.
3 purchases.
Yeah, like 3 to 3.5 is where I'm happy. If I'm ever having a bad day, it's because the ROAS was like a 2 point something for that.
That's very good. I mean, it's a very good indicator.
But I think people ask like, oh, how much money should I spend? I'm like, I don't know. How much can you afford to spend? I can't answer that for you.
Yeah, amazing. Okay. Yes.
Do you know how many bags that you sold since you started?
I think almost 40,000.
Amazing. Yeah.
The first year we sold 150.
Okay. Other questions?
I think I have a question.
Yeah.
So I was working as sales associate a few weeks ago, and I had a few people from other countries, and all of them were like asking for certain color of the bags, but they didn't find it. And then they asked me, "Do you have an international shipping or something like that?" But actually,
So
do
right.
you want to make it more international?
Yes, there's just certain things that I need to do before I can do that. Like right now, everything. Actually, yeah, we're working on. Okay, so a couple different things, but like right now, the bags are shipped to our Milwaukee fulfillment center. They're not individually boxed. They come like 2 to 4 to a box, and they have to repack them. And then we do offer international shipping, but it's really expensive. So I've literally told our customers, like, if you can just wait a couple more months, you don't have to pay the $60 shipping fee. 'Cause I don't want you to pay that either, but like I don't want to pay it myself, and I can't cover that for you. So if you just wait a couple months, been working on custom packaging since January. We got final samples this week. They look good, and then our bags are going to start coming from our factory already, like individually boxed. And then for international orders, I'm setting aside a percentage of our inventory for a Hong Kong warehouse that I want to build this summer, and then our international orders will just go from there. So instead of being shipped here and then going out, because I think international. You remember when I said I want to save retail for next year because I want to focus on international for this year.
Understood. Yeah, that's very good strategy. Starting local
Like
and
one little project every year and see how it goes. I call them like little levers. Like I don't want to pull every lever all at once. I want to save a couple for when we're ready. And I think people think like entrepreneurs they love risk. I'm actually very risk averse. Like everything I do is when the time is here, when the customer has been asking for it for months, then I'll do it. So then I'm like, okay, the demand is there. Otherwise, I'm not going to do something. Like I'm not going to set up international shipping if we don't have an international demand.
Understood. Awesome. Okay, last couple of questions because we need to wrap up. So whoever had questions. Sure.
You mentioned a few times that you're not a designer,
Mhm.
and you also mentioned that you started a brand fresh out of college. Can you tell us a little bit of your background?
Yeah, I was born in China, moved to the US when I was 4, bounced around, went to high school in China because I was like, I want to try something new, mom and dad. So we moved back for college. And then I moved back to the US went back for high school, came back for college. I went to Cornell, I studied communication and information science. I guess to give a little bit more background, I was vegan in middle school, high school. So I started a vegan recipe blog on Instagram, grew that to 800,000 followers. That's kind of like how I learned about social media. This is when I was in China. Started working with, it was like as a influencer way back when. It was nothing like how it is now. I would get paid a little bit to like post, it was like tea companies. And then after college, because I had some spending money from the Instagram, it never occurred to me that I needed to find a job. So I graduated without a job, and I was like, okay, cool. Let me figure something out. So I Googled fastest way to make money online, and I discovered dropshipping. So I spent 3 months of my life dedicating it to dropshipping, and that's how I learned Facebook ads. So that's why I jumped into Freya. I was like, okay, ads work. And that's also where I got the money to start Freya. So from my dropshipping little stint. That was like, I did that for a year, and then I also went back to grad school because I was like, let me just try again to find a job. Didn't happen, but I started working on Freya.
Amazing. It's an amazing journey for sure. Okay, last question, whoever has one. Don't be shy. I know it's a lot of pressure to do the last question. Well, okay, if you don't want to ask it, then we'll thank Jenny for coming in. Thank you so much. It was truly an inspiring conversation. Thank you so much for sharing this knowledge. I know this video will live a long life and online. And thank you everybody who joined us online today. So if you have any questions for Jenny personally, you're welcome. She'll stick around for another few minutes. So you're welcome to ask her. Thank you again. Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.